I'm sharing now from what I used to learn at a kabbalah class about reactivity triggers the ego story. And I looked at overeating because of lacking fulfillment. I felt useless, purposeless, wasteful. I didn't believe I would avoid failure. And the codependency of feeling needy was someone to be ashamed of, hide, keep a secret, nothing nice to say because they don't genuinely like me or I'm unlikable. That I was someone to be ashamed of, hide, or keep a secret, and unlikable. Nothing nice to genuinely say, feeling abandoned, rejected, disappointment, idealizing someone and getting distracted from it not working. And this manifested into security, openness, blessings, or a lack, emptiness, void. And I realized there's a we in this. Like we, each of us, numb ourselves to gain control, but it disturbs and damages us even more and leads to self-loathing. Versus consciousness, we start to be aware of the thoughts we believe in. We might overplease because of feeling unworthy. We have fear of losing it. So it could be in work or saying yes when we mean no. Not solution-oriented, a blockage of honesty, not wanting to repeat this in a new way, ignoring the true feelings. Like, for example, I wasn't happy in the relationship. It's my fault. Versus like, okay, it's no one's fault, but maybe this is not compatible. Then feeling sad and drained when I went against myself to avoid something, like the better of two evils, feeling alone in something which involves someone is anyway going to make me feel alone. So then I ended up lonely either way. I didn't think I was worthy of love, and I overcompensated. In order to feel purposeful, I fixed everything to like make it work. In expressing potential, I was like, my soul knows I am a beautiful, kind-hearted, and strong and honest being, even when it's difficult. So it's okay to have disagreements. This too shall pass. And I can listen to myself always as the security. My thoughts and feelings matter. I matter. The light is within me and I am with the light. I was thinking of a man. His name was Sprouty at the time, but he wasn't treating me in a way that feels respectful, loving, or nurturing. And I at first was so in love with him. And it felt like controlling and insecure. And he wasn't behaving in a confident way. He was also being affected. We're both at times indecisive. And I was treating him, I realized at times like a drug. Like, it was meant to have its desired and intended effect, but not accepting him for who he is. However, if I delete him, the problem's in me. The fact that I didn't say I needed certain compliments or that I was feeling grief over the person that I loved originally, Binyamin, and I was releasing Adam, who betrayed me. He had another woman involved and he used me for sex. At that time, I was not observant. I wasn't being protected by the rules of the Torah, the law. And I was disappointed, even though sometimes people disappoint us because we couldn't mind read or they couldn't meet our needs. I also thought about, there was this woman, her name was Chaimish Gamalka. I actually saw her the other day. We were very good friends. Then she abandoned me. Her mother said I was a bad influence. I see them all the time now, and her mother's very nice to me. But, you know, it was God because I had almost no friends. I felt like I had no one. And looking at how no one's really perfect. We all have our correction, our tikkun, our path. And we all have triggers, whether it's fear, feeling cowardly, impending loss, low self-esteem. And we could turn to God and say, God, I feel alone, like I don't matter. When we take responsibility of the fact that when I think I'm alone, I don't matter, it's not blaming. The reason I keep attracting certain patterns, reactive in my behavior, in my life, I'm holding on and trying to change certain, it's like believing that certain thought is true and holding on to it, that I'm alone, for example, and carrying that frequency that manifests lack, activity, and diminishes my true potential, whether it's in work, relationship, expression, or creativity. Being open to the fact that I'm holding on to this thought that keeps attracting the pattern into my life lets me be thankful that at least I could see it and be able to find willingness to replace it with the thought from my soul. How does it feel? Help me to feel alone. Maybe I could be addicted to doing this, to becoming alone. Not going to ruin it. It's already gone. I don't have to try and waste energy or avoid disappointment and shattered hope because it could protect me, the aloneness, from loss, grief, and betrayal, rejection, abandonment, and abuse. So I can't lose company because I'm already alone. I don't have to try and waste energy when I'll just end up alone. I could avoid the disappointment or shattered hope that it's the one, that I'll never be alone again. So how does it hurt me? Because it allows me to have missed work opportunities, not successful career-wise, overeating, numbing it in ways that cause physical and mental discomfort, struggling to motivate myself, validate myself, trust, affirm, inspire myself, encourage and love myself. And it cuts me off from God and spirituality and divinity. And the loneliness, the guardedness, the avoiding connecting to people, like whether it's dating or friendship, there is like pushing people away, not getting the support, even a learned helplessness. And holding on to I'm alone in the body, the feelings, the relationship, the career, the self-respect, manifesting in my potential, moving on, being stuck. It's not even real, the thought. So all that was based on isn't either standing on its own once we stop believing the thought. So the thought from the soul and the source doesn't cause pain. They trigger feelings of strength and light and possibility and togetherness and support and courage and creativity and motivation, knowing that I matter, my energy matters, it gives me relief, and it doesn't make me feel tricked or used. Like, oh, I didn't really matter in the end. Like this whole thing of I'm alone, I don't matter, and then I'll be alone, I won't matter. So this is like obviously healing the childhood wound. So I don't want to be someone else. I want to be the best version of me, showing up as the richest, most present, brightest self, already here, just maybe concealed. When the soul says you deserve self-confidence, self-efficacy, self-worth, and I have the light with me, I love myself. This is to always put the divine path first and appreciate the self with all the mistakes exactly where we should be now. Everything's happening the way it's supposed to. It's all right, and I'm loved and supported by the light now. This is proactivity and optimism, that it's going to be okay. Versus the idea of a haunted house in the head. Obviously, the topic today is about mental health. So it starts with acceptance, understanding, and with me, right? So we can't take it personally. We all have our own completely discrete dream, and we have to put it out first. The light, the love. This is how to pause when we're agitated, and someone else affecting me is natural. However, there's no need to react because my work is the pause and what comes up in it. They'll not ever see anything from my angle, exactly from my view, because they have their own. So what are my needs? My needs do matter. It has to matter to me. I can't make myself feel alone that no one's going to meet my needs. I have to do it. That's the harder orientation, where it's not about them meeting my needs. Flexibility and openness on my end are the way to satisfy, versus no one else's dream is more real than mine. My dream is not going to be more real to them than theirs. And when we get into like how dare they, it's usually a sign that we were being codependent, tunnel vision, over expecting, mind reading, or not communicating the needs and feelings. And it's also like remembering when Helen Keller says, when one door of happiness closes, another opens. But often if we look so long at the closed door, we don't see the one which has been opened for us. And this is how we can be the I that we matter to ourselves more than to anyone. Versus the hysteria, also known as history, is the grief coming up about being in the feelings for something I didn't process in the past. And it will be our wisdom. No one else has to matter to us the way that we matter to ourselves. And we don't have to matter to anyone the way that they matter to themselves. And they have to matter to themselves more than we matter to them, because nothing else is sustainable. We can meet our own needs. We can source them, provide them. We have to prioritize ourselves more than any relationship with anyone else, because that's God's will. We're the hole in the donut, in a way. Space, lessons, arguments, the time apart. When the lessons we get are for us, not that we have to demonstrate anything to anyone. We know different relationships teach different lessons. We can trust God that it's all necessary and perfect, even if it doesn't feel like it, even if we're struggling to get benefit of the doubt. Sometimes we don't even know which skills we are developing until afterward, later on. And some show us what we want and what we don't want. And, relationships have to be seen as walking each other home. I think Ram Dass said that. And they have been always, even when we weren't aware, we wanted it to be or feel different. Even when we look around, we think it should be different. It's actually how it needs to be in that moment. Sometimes it can be scary to walk away or be led a different direction, to be true to ourselves. But we could look at it as that we're refusing to lose our soul to a person or relationship, and that we're responsible for our choices, and we do have choices. We're responsible for our boundaries and establishing what we believe, what we deserve, and we're not stuck or trapped in any relationship. We will feel victimized every time we want to give our power away, but we can practice accepting and trusting the present circumstances without recognizing that, without needing someone else to change our life. If we choose to give benefit of the doubt and acceptance and understanding and honesty, then we can make genuine amends with sincere gratitude for the times that maybe we were treating people like we're stuck or trapped, and that doesn't feel good for them either. Or when we feel like they're responsible for our choices, we blame them. We don't establish what we believe we deserve to ourselves. And even if we don't give ourselves unconditional love, when we choose ourselves as lovable, acceptable, beautiful, good enough, sufficient and worthy as we are, then we will attract situations where we can feel easeful that way, and that it's not more work. And God may be using others to hurt us so we can see where we give our power away. God's not really hurting us with them. It's just that if we don't give ourselves unconditional love, we won't be able to give anyone else love either. It's going to be conditional, and we're not going to see them how they really are. So it could be they're lashing out because they feel also unseen, also unloved, and we're learning to be whole. So thank you for listening. Have a good night. Bye.